Looking for a way to make a statement without saying a word? Shop I Am All Things Clothier, the brand that lets your wardrobe do the talking. Our shirts aren't just clothing, they're bold declarations of who you are and where you're going. Whether you're crushing your goals, embracing self love, or simply looking to inspire, our designs keep you focused and stylish. So why just wear a shirt when you can wear your mindset? Visit IamEX313.com and choose the shirt that speaks to your journey today because you're more than just one thing. You're everything that you speak. Your circle will change as you accomplish your goals and level up. Everybody Can't Go.
And we live. Welcome to another episode of Everybody Can't Go Convos. I'm your host, Jessi Holley, and today I have with us another special guest. I know you see a few things have changed around here. We done stepped our game up, got a couple of sponsors. We've redone the Everybody Can't Go Convo studio, so hashtag that one. Today I have with me Mr. Nasir, and I'm going to allow him to introduce himself, tell a little bit about his brand and his business, and then we'll get a little bit into the story of where I met this amazing, dynamic young man, and we'll get into the things that we get into around here. So go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience. Tell us a bit about your brand.
Let's do it. So what's up, guys? My name is Nas. I do have a nonprofit called Change the Narrative. Now, the focus point of my nonprofit is to give back wisdom and opportunity to the youthful young men and also teach them and mentor them how to become professional in many spaces. You know, I feel as though that's a narrative that needs to be changed. Therefore, that hence is the name, Change the Narrative. But I mentor, you know. I give back on my purpose. I plant my seeds for purpose, and I walk in my faith to follow my purpose. And that's what Change the Narrative is.
Awesome. So, you guys know that we're all about growth and those different things around here. So, when we're talking about the Change the Narrative program, you guys know that I always bring you a little something for the fellas too, especially our Black men, all ages. But you know, there is a certain aspect to getting to our young men and instilling some growth-minded principles, making sure that there are safe spaces for men to be vulnerable with one another and to be able to grow and cultivate positive attributes.
Yeah.
With a lot of the things like in y'all know I done talked about this before. The stuff in social media, all of the stuff that they say, who is they? We still ain't found out. But all of the things that are like constantly pushed into us via social media, all the different screens we use, even when you're trying to manipulate your own algorithm, some of that negative foolishness still starts to find its way into your algorithm. You always gonna see something that is negative or something that is painting our men in a light that is not always so positive.
Exactly.
So when you decided to start your nonprofit, was there a like a particular like that one big event that was the catalyst for you being like, you know what, I'm gonna do this, or was it like a slow burn? Like, how did that start out?
So it started in the manner of me always wanting to help out my youth, or as I would say, my young boys. I always wanted to help out, always talk to them, mentor them, whether it was on girls or what exactly. Even when I didn't know what I wanted to do for work, I would help them try to figure out what their purpose was for them to what to do for work. Even when I was confused myself, you know. So it was always something I was just doing naturally, not really thinking of it in a business way or making it a nonprofit. It's just something I did. It's something I carried with me. Now, the opportunity that I got to join YRD, shout out Stacey Burns, Kevin Lewis. When I got the opportunity to join YRD, the Real Estate Collective, it opened my eyes up to the opportunities that's out there for us as young men. And as a great mentor myself, Kevin Lewis, he opened my eyes and showed me different navigations, different routes, different opportunities that a lot of these young men don't realize they can do. They feel like to do right or to be seen in the right eyes, you gotta go to college. You gotta go work that 9 to 5. You gotta do certain things to make sure that your narrative is positive, but it's not always that. It's not always that case scenario, you know. So my changing point was joining YRD. It definitely opened my eyes to know that I can give back the information that I'm gaining and I'm receiving from my elders. But just something I always did. I always followed my purpose, you know. I always was trying to chase my purpose rather than my pleasure.
That's dope. That's
Yeah.
dope. So we'll take an aside, as you heard him mention YRD. That's actually where we were able to meet and connect. And he was one of the honorees at an installation service. And just in a brief speech and talking about his path into real estate, I'm like, yo, this is super dope. Young man, wise beyond his years. And I'm like, I gotta have you on the pod. Like, I have to bring you to the audience.
Yeah.
I have to have you out here talking about your message, talking about the things that you do in the community for the youth. And I was definitely impressed with you being so young and being like full steam ahead into real estate as an avenue to produce income.
Mhm.
And like it was really really refreshing to see someone being so serious and like dead on into it so early in life, and that is really awesome. One of the things that we talk about around here a lot is talking about knowing your vision and making sure that that's written out, and knowing your purpose, and that like the decisions that you've made so far at the age that you are now. I could really see how this can be impactful to so many youth. You just mentioned everybody doesn't have to go to college. College isn't for everybody. Some people, y'all need to stay up out of there, okay?
I went.
You're wasting somebody's money.
I went. I didn't finish though.
Okay.
I did not finish. But yeah.
So like, and that's a reality as well. People that go, they start, and it's like you change your major 4 times, or you just like, nah, I'm not rocking with this. There are many other ways to produce substantial income. Let's just say that, because who isn't online talking about chasing 6 figures? Some people do need to take a 9 to 5 millionaire route. Shout out to Jamal King. And others of us, that is my route, you guys. That is my route. Y'all know I am fully transparent. I tried the grind it out way.
Yeah.
There are so many different niches for people to fit into when you are chasing your dreams, chasing success.
Yes.
And you're absolutely right that it doesn't always have to include college. There are many people who are not necessarily using the degrees that they have. Yeah. It's just checking off a box. And there are other pathways to get to where you want to go. So that was really admirable of you to, go ahead and cut it and go another route that I myself have seen people who have been very successful in real estate and in the nonprofit sector as well, and are able to create not just wealth financially, but providing that wealth of knowledge to other people, that they're impacting the community. Like, that's another form, y'all. Mm-hmm. Like, don't forget, we're not just talking about the money that you spend, things that you buy. We're talking about the wealth that you're creating within other people. We talk about those mutually beneficial relationships. This right here, this is a young man that is bringing mutually beneficial relationships through his nonprofit to other young men, reaching back, pulling other people up.
Yes, ma'am.
So while you were talking about your just always having like that helping spirit about you, what led you to go to college? Like, what did you think you were going to do at first? And then how did you like balance the two with always wanting to help and give back to the generation after you versus like, I'm gonna go to college? Like, how did that balance for you?
So, to be completely blunt and honest, the route of me going to college wasn't because of me necessarily seeing it to go to college. It was because, in fact, my own self and what I do, I didn't know my purpose. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Unfortunately, I was a follower. So I seen everybody, they playing football, basketball, they going to school. And I was an athlete, I was an athlete at my school. I did what I did. I was a star athlete playing football.
Okay.
So it was a no-brainer for me to get that scholarship and go to school. So I went to school off the factor of that. But even at school, I'm sitting here, I'm sitting in class, I'm like, wow, this really isn't me. Even after changing my my major from psychology to business, all over, all over. I changed my major probably 3 times. and it just nothing clicked with me. Nothing really clicked with me. And come that second year, that fourth semester, it was time for me to hang that up. Yeah.
Okay. So, wow, you had about 4 changes to your major in what would that have been, about 3 semesters, two semesters? Okay, wow. So you was really like
stressing
going through
my
it.
mom out. My mom was stressed.
And nobody's parent wants to hear you say like college isn't for me, and it's like, no, you're just not trying hard enough. And it's like, well, how do you know? So, for my parents out there, some of you guys that are listening, remember, we're being open and honest in that healthy communication. That is a real conversation that a lot of times, I mean, I could even say for me, like, I tried to go to community college for the first 2 years. My mama was like, absolutely not. You ain't doing it. And I'm like, but girl, why? And she's like, because you too smart to not go to the university. And I'm like, but money though, I'm not sure if. And it's like, I'm not trying to hear it. Yeah. I'm not trying to hear it. So that's definitely one of those places and spaces where, like, we do need to be open to these conversations, not just if you're a mother or father, but resident aunties, okay, and all of our, uncles, mentors, whomever out there. Just think about how that conversation goes when you are encouraging a young person, just go to college, just go to college. Rewind it back to exactly what he said. He ended up wasting that time because he wasn't sure of his purpose. That's Look, that is right behind them. Lean to your left. Y'all already know what I tell y'all to get. Get the journal, y'all. Get the journal.
Sure.
Because when you start there and know what your vision is, it really doesn't matter how young or old you are. It gives you so much direction so that you know where you're on a path to. Not just like, well, let me try this, let me try that, let me swirl. Where are you going? What are you doing? So, like, this is really important to dig back down to that root. And that's why I always take you guys back to talking about what is your vision for your life, and taking that time to actually sit with yourself. Take some time to sit with God, sit with whatever higher power you believe in, whether it's the universe, whatever. But make sure that you are taking that time to actually sit and write down, what do you want to do with your life, so that the choices that you're making in education, in taking a job, in dealing with people, that is in alignment with the vision that you have for your life.
Yeah.
So while we're talking about alignment and some of the choices that you had to make in terms of like your education, as far as like social situations, and when we say relationships around here, it's any kind of relationship. Yeah. So whether that's familial, romantic, platonic, social, business relationships, I just lump them all in. Have there been any relationships that you noticed that as you were finding your footing and once you started to get acclimated with what your purpose was, did you notice that there were any people that you needed to like break away from? Like, what is your Everybody Can't Go story?
For sure. Especially when you're trying to chase something that isn't of normality in our generation, because everyone wants to be on social media. Granted, YouTube channel, I do YouTube, and I'm trying to become more in the media aspect, but when people see you start to do things that's not for pleasure, and to see you do things that's not normal or that's not what they're doing, you become uncool. So for you to really chase your purpose, it was really separating yourself from the people that seen you as somebody that wasn't trying to do what everyone else is doing. And oftentimes that's different than who they look up to. That's different than who they admire. That's different than who their role model is. So when you really try and choose your legacy and greatness and what you genuinely want to chase, you gotta separate yourself. And one of the quotes that one of my mentors tell me all the time is, some people play to win, and some people play not to. Some people play to win, and some people play not to lose. And now what that means, and to everybody, is to play to win. There's just one factor: your relationship with risk has to be more than a relationship of not like wanting to lose, that fear of not to lose. So to separate yourself, you have to start risking it. Sometimes that's risking relationships. That's risking anything. That's risking anything to chase what you genuinely want to do, your purpose. Do it broke, do it scared, do it alone.
Come on, do it broke and do it scared and do it alone. Look, He done just summed up
Yes,
a handful of pies right there, okay? And I know that those 3 points, I'm definitely, y'all, we're revisiting those in some future episodes because those are 3 points that we do definitely end up talking about all the time.
Talk about those.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
And when I'm talking with people, like tell people all the time, I'm like, it's like, well, I'm afraid to do it. And I'm like, shout out to ET and the rest of the UOU Mastermind fam. One of the things that one of my mentors, Dr. Eric Thomas, said that really stuck with me, he's like, okay, you scared. Do it scared. And I'm like, duh. I can be as scared as I want to. I still got to do it anyway. You still got to do it anyway. So, I mean, you can do it scared, do it alone. Y'all know I've talked to y'all about several times about having to go by yourself. Sometimes you do have to go alone.
Yeah.
And don't forget that caveat, just in case you didn't write it down again, that just because you are alone or going it alone, that doesn't mean that you're lonely. Especially when you have something to do and you're following your purpose, your passion, and you're working towards your vision. That time when you're alone, that's time for you to put your head down, grind, and work. Like you're not lonely. You might be tired, but you ain't lonely. You are just working alone. So
I was going to say something on that point too. Mm-hmm. Like before I formed my Change Narrative team, I was going to all these networking events alone. All these older people, all these people, I had no idea what their occupation was, but I was going to these networking events after networking events by myself, showing up just there. Started off, I was like, all right, I should wear a suit. All right, let me throw a little blazer, let me throw slacks on, Kelsey boots, But I was doing that by myself because no one my age really thinks of networking events. Say, oh yeah, let's go to a club rather than a networking event, Or if you go on Eventbrite, you don't see networking events. You see Halloween party or the Christmas, saying all these different parties and stuff. Whereas when you go to networking events, you're not seeing many people that's trying to be there to chase purpose. And oftentimes, even with me, I don't have the income that they have at that event, but I'm there to match their energy, to learn and to gain wisdom from them. So you have to do some things alone to put yourself ahead. You have to do that alone. You have to go out by yourself,
That is big.
That works.
That's big facts. And you bring up a really good point. When I was younger, look, I was at the club too. Y'all know I ain't afraid of a good party. And it's still there on Instagram if you scroll back far enough, because y'all know I'm real. Yeah. But you bring up a really good point. I definitely noticed the more I grew and the more I became like immersed, because I was always serious, but the more I became immersed in business growth and in the different things that I set out to do, I noticed all those party friends. Y'all know my page is public, and that's on purpose because I want y'all to know who I am for real. And I'm not and I wasn't about to clean up the page just because it's like, we're starting a podcast. You can see who I am on this podcast so that I can put on and pretend to be a certain person for y'all. There are a lot of people who were around for the party when it was time to go have some fun, time to, like you said, be up in the club, be partying. And I'm like, okay, well, I still got to get up at 5, 6 a.m. Yeah. Because I got work to do. How many people do you think got up with me at 4, 5, 6 a.m. to go do the networking part, the things that you were talking about doing alone? Yeah. And that's one of the things that made me start to talk about this, because I did start to notice, because I was doing both. I'm like, well, I like to have fun, but I also don't want to be broke for the rest of my life or struggling or whatever. And I knew that I had dreams that were bigger than the norm. The stuff that people like, that's too much, that's fine, I'm too much, okay? But I started to notice that when I did, even when I reached out for help, certain people, they was always picking up the phone when it was time to party. But when it was time to help, do something. Talk to them. To build. Talk to them. Where y'all at? Exactly. It's funny you say this. I do still go out here and there. I am 22 years old, so I do still go out. I was just out the other night, and I told my team, I'm like, yeah, we out right now, cool. We got the section and all that. You know what I'm saying? We having a good time. It's Halloween. Shout out all the twins and all that. But we gotta wake up at 6 a.m. because we gotta go to make this happen. It's when you build something, and you can enjoy life, but never forget about your priorities. And your priorities is something that should be instilled in you.
So even though I didn't go to sleep till 4 a.m., we had to jump right back up at 6 a.m. and keep doing it. Be young. The energy that we had to all the hoopers and stuff. You can go in the gym for 10, 12 hours a day, but put that towards your hustle and see where it takes you in life. Hop back up 2 hours later. Go do it again and do it again.
That's real. That's real. And I talk about, I don't remember what episode it was, you guys. So I say that my day has energy blocks. So let's just say I start on 100%.
Yeah.
And look, that 100 blocks that you have per day, like he just said, if you could spend 10, 12 hours in the gym, that does mean that you got the energy.
Exactly.
You ain't tired. You might be tired of doing a specific thing, but you ain't too tired to do it. And that's where discipline comes in, and that consistency has to pop up. And y'all know a few episodes ago we talked a bit about prioritizing that rest when you need it. And a part of keeping that energy going is making sure that the same way that you plan to hit the gym for however many hours, the same way that you do or don't plan to, be out here partying, gallivanting, and doing all of those things and being social. The same way that you plan what time you need to be at work. If you are punching a clock, that you do have to be there at a specific time and you leave at a specific time. Or, even if you have that flex schedule, making sure that you are disciplined enough to make the most of those 100 blocks that you have per day. And I guarantee you guys, revisit that 168 chart. And if you haven't seen it before, just Google it. We've talked about it before. Take a look at what are you doing with that 168 hours per week that you have. It's not that you don't have the time. And it's easy to say, we all got the same 24 hours. That's easy to say when you aren't explaining and breaking down, well, how are you maximizing that 24 hours a day? You just gave a great example when you talked about spending that 10 hours in the gym to somebody that's their passion and they love that. 10 hours is nothing. It's not enough time. But there are some things that we'll have to do that we may not be as passionate about. I'm not passionate about every single aspect of my business. Some of the procedures, policies, paperwork that I have to look at and do, I'm like, look, I got about 2 patience blocks left of my day and my energy. I'm going to work on this for 15 minutes and then I will come back to it. And some of the things that I need to delegate, I just go ahead and delegate, you guys. So don't forget, when there are those things that you need to do to build, whether it's your business, whether it's your personal development, any of those things, remember that discipline and consistency and paying attention to what you're doing with your time, you do have to pay attention to that so that you can make sure that you are getting the level up and the growth that you expect out of yourself. And the only person that's in charge of that is you, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and I'll say I used to be one of the ones that was playing ball for that 8 hour, 10 hour mark, and say I come back to my phone. My mom's called me 20 times.
No.
So I come from that, So I remember being in the gym 8 hours a day, just hooping, and then coming back home and nothing was productive. You may have had a good day, but you didn't elevate yourself. So just say, speak on that.
That's real. That's real. And I'm glad that you took notice of that and started to do something different.
Yeah.
So in closing, let us know about your journey into real estate and what do you have planned for the near future. And you can let us know some of your long-term stuff as well after you made your transition and what growth is going to look like for you.
Okay. So within real estate, I partnered with a lot of investors on the wholesaler side. I am looking to get my license coming up December. Spoiler to my mom, to my stepdad, to everybody. But to get my license in the near future to fulfill and to follow my purpose within real estate, also to capitalize on cash flow and assets.
Okay, cool. And then also let us know what is coming up for you with your nonprofit and where can we find you on socials?
Yes, on IG, you guys can follow me at Nas.Cook21. We have an event coming up October 20th. Address is in my IG bio. We also do have an event coming up on November 9th. YouTube videos dropping left and right. So you guys just go follow the page. You guys want to see everything listed, the IG bio. Come to a networking event. Come grow. Come chase your narrative.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's what's up. All right, and you guys already know, follow us on Instagram at Everybody Can't Go, the number 2, and we'll hear a few words from our sponsors. And with that, we will leave you guys. We hope to see you again next week, and thanks for tuning in for another Everybody Can't Go Convo.
Get out of here.
Calling all Gen X women writers. Do you have a book inside of you just waiting to be written? It's time to stop sitting on that dream and start smiling at your completed manuscript. Join us for an unforgettable, fully immersive weekend retreat designed to take you from stuck to published. From March 14th through 16th, 2025, at a luxurious retreat home in Orlando, Florida, you'll be guided step by step by best-selling authors, experienced publishers, and your writing coach, Melissa T, who's authored 8 books and helped countless writers become bestsellers. This is your chance to unshackle the story that's been living inside of you for months or even years and release your voice to the world. Because when you share your words, you change lives one page at a time. Secure your spot today and get ready to write the book you were born to create. Save your spot now. Click the link below.